is something special. And now Moses, here's Moses. Moses knows they're called. So Moses turns to the people and he says, we just read it, fear not, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show you today. For the Egyptians that you have seen today, you shall see them no more forever. Some of y'all in here are dealing with something. Let me stop. Some of y'all in here are dealing with something, and you think it's never going to end. It could be a habit. It could be a problem. It could be a situation. It could be a relationship, but you're thinking that it will never end. I'm here to tell you right now, according to that promise right there, there's coming a day when you're not going to have to see that anymore. You're going to overcome that problem. You're going to overcome that situation. You're going to overcome that relationship. But you got to hold on and trust God. Remember, don't be afraid. Take your hands off of it. And when you do, God will fix it. And I didn't read this because this is amazing to me. Here's Moses. There's 1.5 million Israelites. They're screaming, they're hollering at it, they're mad, they're wanting to turn back, they're wanting to stone him, they're wanting to get a new captain to go back, all kinds of stuff. And Moses stands up and says, and all I can see is Charlton Heston standing there. Fear not, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. You know, that's awesome. But you know what? Moses must have been from Possum Track. Because he turns around to God and he says, what should we do now? Oh, come on, y'all. You ready? Hey, he goes, oh, okay. I did what you said. And he says, he turned around and says, the Lord shall fight for you, hold your peace. And the Lord said unto Moses, why criest thou unto me? He looked over at God and said, what am I going to do now? I mean, you told me to tell him not to be afraid. You told me that everything was going to be all right. But, Lord, there's mountains on every side. There's Pharaoh's choice chariots behind us. And there's a Red Sea. It's over 100 foot deep. So what are we going to do? Now, what it says, he says, then the Lord said unto Moses, why are you crying unto me? Well, I've had a few boss men tell me that. I've had a few counselors tell me that. I've had some pastors tell me that. Why are you crying to me? You know what to do. Do it. Some of you on here right now, you've been crying unto God and crying unto God and wonder why he has not answered. And God said, I've already answered. You got to do what I told you to do. I don't have a plan A, plan B, plan C. I've got one plan. It's my plan. That's what God taught. His way is the highway. And so he says, so why are you crying unto me? I told you to go forward. I like another version. The message says, why are you crying unto me? Speak to the Israelites. Order them to get moving. But wait a minute, Lord. Have you looked down at the situation? Mountain, Pharaoh, Red Sea. Have you noticed that? I've actually told people before, I said, Lord, have you actually seen where I'm at? Lord, do you understand exactly the heaviness here? What's going on? That word go forward is a special word in Hebrew, because that word to go forward, you know what it means? To pull up your tent pegs. That's what it means. So now, if it means pull up your tent pegs, it means don't get locked into the situation that you're in. Don't get boggled down in it and think that God can't get you out of it. Don't say, well, there's no way to get out of it. There's a Red Sea, mountains, and Pharaoh. I might as well put my tent pegs down because we're going to be here for quite some time in this mess. And God says, why are you crying to me, Moses? Tell the people to pull up their tent pegs and go forward. Wow. That's powerful. That is so powerful, because as a counselor, all the time I see people that got their tent pegs pushed down, and not only they got it pushed down, they've hit them with a hammer, and they got their foot on top of it. And I tell them, if you try this or do this, or if you'll speak this word, or if you'll understand what God's trying to do in your life, you'll go forward, but they won't pull the tent pegs up. Wow. let's go ahead. Let's go further here. So he says, pull up your tent pegs. So what does it mean when he says pull up your tent pegs? What's he telling them actually? He's telling them, I want you to have your faith activated. It's one thing to have your notebook with the faith written on it. It's another thing to have your car, you got a bumper sticker on it. I honk for Jesus. I saw one the other day. It was really cool. It says, tithe if you love Jesus. Anybody can honk. I had to throw it out there. I just liked it so good. And I also remember going to Luke one time when I passed a Chevrolet. It was a Ford. It was a Ford. And it was going so bad and so slow and kicking out so much smoke. I couldn't hardly breathe. When I got past it, I got close enough to see the bumper sticker. And the bumper sticker on that Ford said, I'm constipated. I can't pass anything. All right. Enough of the bumper stickers. All right. Don't talk about faith and then do nothing. Don't, I tell people all the time. I used to tell them at Fountain, don't call me to death. We got a problem. Here's a solution. All right, guys, let's go handle this solution. They go, well, we don't know. We're scared, blah, 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 blah. And I say, quit talking me to death. Let's get out there and do something. Because if we don't get out and do something, we're going to sink. Get it? Found the power boat to sink? Right. Okay. I tell people all the time, and my family, don't talk me to death. And you know what? I can hear God looking down at me sometimes and go, David, you're talking me to death. But Lord, have you seen how it looks down here? David, you're talking me to death. David, you haven't heard what I said. I said, pull up the tent pegs and move forward. So faith first is always positive. When I say positive, I'm going to say forward. I put forward there. I was hesitant to put forward, although it's forward in this story, is because sometimes in faith you have to back up. Sometimes in faith you have to do other things, and it may seem negative. By faith, Jesus took the cross and carried it, and it looked like a bad thing. It looked very negative, but in all actuality, it was a very positive thing for the rest of us. So remember, faith first is always positive. When you're getting ready to see your faith activated, number one, faith is always positive. Guaranteed, always 100% positive. And it's also powerful. The Bible says in the Amplified Version, Hebrews 11:1, now faith is the assurance, the confirmation, the title deed of the things we hope for, being the proof of things we do not see and the conviction of their reality. Faith perceiving as real fact what is not revealed to the senses. They're hemmed in. There's nowhere for them to go. They're looking at the Red Sea, and God says, go forward. We didn't bring boats. Nobody can swim. What's going on here, Lord? You're telling us to go forward. There's the Red Sea. Faith sees things that your senses can't see. Not only is it positive, not only is it powerful, it's pleasing. Because it says, without faith it's impossible to please God and be satisfactory to Him. For whoever comes near to God must necessarily believe that God exists, or that He is a rewarder of them who earnestly and diligently seek Him. God said, go forward. How many here have heard God tell you, get back up, and you leave there? I remember one night, I was working a swing shift. I was already tired. I'll come home. I started running a fever. I mean a high fever. And I got sick in my belly. And every time I get up, I'd get dizzy. And I'd want to throw up. And I was just feeling really, really bad. And I kept telling my wife, she said, you need to go see somebody. I said, I'll be fine, I'll be fine, I'll be fine. And I got praying. And the Lord said, stand up. I said, Lord, I tried. I fell back down. He said, I said, stand up. I said, Lord, have you seen me stand up? I argued with him. I know I'm the only one that's ever argued. And he said, take up thy bed and walk. And as God is my witness, and I regret this and regret it today, but now I use it as a lesson, I said, no, I can't. 1 hour later, I was in the emergency room with IVs stuck in me. And for the rest of my life, I go back to that moment when God said, rise, take up your bed. And I said, no. And the situation that it got me in, I honestly believe if I had listened, I'd have been in court that night. Instead of laying in the emergency room with IVs stuck all over me.